I'd like to have you hear the testimony of one of our young men who actually is in the group called the Love Song, and God brought these boys to the Lord about 1.5 years ago.
Well, my story is kind of typical, I guess, of a lot of young people nowadays. My search for God started when I started taking drugs, and I got sort of caught up into the whole thing that was happening with the lyrics from the Beatles. And just about the time I started taking drugs, Sgt. Pepper came out, and I was looking to all these men for answers, and trying to follow this path of the way hippies were going. You know, I sold all my possessions, and I went to Hawaii to live in a cave and to live off the land and stuff. And after sitting over on the island there for a while, which was kind of like a dream to me because, it's so groovy over there and everything, and I had everything that I wanted. I had my guitar, and I had drugs, and I was searching for God. And I just realized that God really wasn't anywhere in the world. Like, I couldn't go to a place to find him. And I found this vacuum in my heart that wasn't satisfied. And I realized that I wasn't doing any man any good sitting on a rock over in Hawaii. So I came back to the mainland, and I ran across, I started hearing about the Bible and some of the scriptures in the Bible. And I heard the scripture that said, "Seek and you will find." And it impressed me as a promise that God was promising me if I looked hard enough that I would find him. So I just continued my search, and I went through a lot of different ways to try to find it. I went through the Eastern philosophies and some Buddhism and the Urantia book and Timothy Leary's trip, and I went through all these things trying to connect them, and I never really heard how simple it was to just accept Jesus and that he was the answer, because these other religions, philosophies kind of include him, but not as the Son of God and the Son of Man. So I decided, I'd heard about Calvary Chapel, and I decided to give this place a try, because I was being open-minded, and I wanted to try everything that seemed like it might be a way. But it was the last place that I expected to find it, because in my heart I felt it would be up on this mountain somewhere with this long-haired guru, and he's saying, well, in 10 years we'll be on our way, And that's how I really expected to find God. And I walked in and I heard Pastor Smith just laying down the simplicity of the gospel. After I'd been making such a heavy thing out of it for 4 or 5 years, I was into LSD and drugs and marijuana. And I just heard, man, Jesus died on the cross to save you because no man can make it because we're all just really rotten inside, I'm coming to discover that more every day. His grace and his love is just so abundant, and that's the answer to the world's problems, and there is no other answer. So, being a musician, I wanted to dedicate my talent to the Lord, and the same with the fellows here in the group. So we all became Christians just about the same time out of the Laguna Beach dope scene, and we found the Lord just about the same time. We decided that we would start giving our talents to him, and the Lord started to give us tunes, and we'd like to sing and share one with you now called Welcome Back. It's one of the first songs we wrote, and it's kind of like a story that it's like God speaking to anyone that finally finds the truth and decides to yield his life to Jesus Christ.